It's 6:42 a.m. when the world changes, though at first it's only the quiet click of your coffee maker finishing its cycle. You stand in the kitchen, bare feet on cold tile, the faint smell of grounds rising with the steam. Morning light filters through the blinds in thin, harmless stripes. You reach for your mug, then your phone vibrates on the counter. One sharp buzz, then another, then a long, shrill alert tone you've only heard in tests. The screen flashes an emergency broadcast banner in harsh red. For a moment you don't touch it, you just listen. The coffee maker gives one last hiss. Your refrigerator hums. The house is still itself. Then a distant siren begins to swell somewhere beyond your neighborhood. Uncertain at first, then unmistakable. Your hand tightens around the mug. The alert tone repeats. You swipe the screen. The message is short, too short, the kind written by someone who didn't expect to type it. You read the words once, twice. The meaning comes slower than the sound. You feel the floor beneath you shift, though it doesn't move at all. The coffee's warmth bleeds into your palm. Your breath goes shallow. For 3 long seconds, nothing happens. No window shatters, no flash. Just the silent weight of a new reality settling around you like dust. You put the mug down. A single thought rises through the static. Move. And the voice inside you, calm, steady, instructional, begins. By 6:45 a.m. you've crossed from the kitchen into the hallway, your bare feet whispering against hardwood. The siren outside wavers, low, distant, mechanical. You inhale once, deliberately slow. This is where panic tries to take over. You push it back. The first 5 minutes are not for instinct, they're for decision. You move with purpose now, grounding yourself in what you can touch. The rough towel hanging from the oven handle as you pass. The cool metal of the doorframe, the faint warmth still radiating from the coffee mug you abandoned. These anchors steady your hands. Breathe. 4 counts in, 4 out. The alert didn't specify the impact point. That's normal. Civil defense protocols assume you won't know. What matters is this. If you can hear a siren, you are in a zone where shelter in place increases survival. Distance and shielding become your primary defenses against fallout. Radioactive particles that behave like contaminated dust, dangerous only after they settle. You check the time on your phone. 6:46 a.m. This small action, repeated later, becomes your first micro-routine. Your task now is choosing where to shelter. You need interior space, minimal windows, dense materials around you. You step away from the kitchen's open layout and scan your home with new purpose. The interior bathroom with its single small window, the coat closet in the hallway, the space beneath the stairs. A word forms in your mind. Decide. Your pulse hammers, but your hands shake less than before. You grab the heavy bath towel from the linen closet and move toward the bathroom. Every choice now narrows risk. This is survival shaped by seconds. You've begun moving. Continue. Movement becomes control. By 6:52 a.m., you've crossed the threshold from shock into function. You stand in the narrow hallway between the bathroom and bedroom, scanning both spaces with new eyes, counting distances, corners, structural advantages. The bathroom has no exterior walls and only one small frosted window. Good. The bedroom closet beside it has more mass, boxes, hanging clothes, the weight of accumulated belongings. Better. You choose the closet. Sound first, listen. A faint, low rumble outside, not an impact, just the uneasy chorus of distant sirens and what might be car alarms several blocks away. You feel the dryness in your mouth. You label it. Fear, naming it, shrinks it. You kneel and press the towel along the bottom of the closet door, sealing the largest gap between door and carpet. Dust is the enemy later, not now, but this step becomes a ritual. something to repeat when the hours stretch thin. Civil defense guidance is clear. 2 feet of dense material can reduce radiation exposure significantly. You can't achieve that fully, but every layer matters. You drag a suitcase from the bedroom across the hallway and set it against the outer wall of the closet. Then a second. Weight becomes shielding. Each inch of barrier between you and outside air is earned safety. You check the time again. A small pang, guilt maybe, when you think of the neighbors. You haven't knocked. You haven't called out. This is the moral gravity of survival. You can't save everyone, not even everyone you want to. Breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Count again. Before entering the closet, you take one more essential action. You move to the bathroom and start filling the bathtub. The municipal water system may fail within hours. Clean water now may be the only water later. The water splashes loudly in the suddenly altered morning. You've chosen your shelter. Next, you secure it. By 7:03 a.m., your hands have steadied enough to work the way they need to. You move supplies into the closet with deliberate efficiency. 2 water bottles from the kitchen, the flashlight from the utility drawer, the battery-powered radio from the living room shelf, a notebook, a pen. Each object becomes more than itself, a lifeline, a function, a rhythm. The house grows quieter. The sirens fade. That silence is dangerous. It invites imagination. You pause, breathe, focus on texture. Your thumb brushes the ridged surface of the flashlight casing. Reality replaces fear. You return to the bathroom and push a folded blanket along the bottom of the exterior door. Every sealed gap slows airflow, which limits fallout dust infiltration if the outer structure is compromised. Civil defense protocols emphasize reducing pathways of contamination, and each towel, each blanket, is an act of control you can measure. A muffled voice outside, someone shouting down the street. You freeze, wait. Your body urges you to look out the window to confirm what's happening, but opening blinds sacrifices shielding. Glass offers no protection against radiation. Curiosity is risk. You step back into the hallway and turn the deadbolt on the front door. A strange thought flickers, locking out the world. You sit with it for one breath, then let it go. Back in the closet, you position the radio near your knee. You won't turn it on yet. Conserving battery is discipline. Discipline is protection. You arrange the water bottles where you can reach them in darkness. You place the notebook on your lap. You close the closet door. The darkness settles gently, completely, like a hand covering your eyes. Your breathing is the loudest sound now. You count it. 4 in, hold, 4 out. The outside world continues without you seeing it. That's the point. Now you anchor yourself. The next decisions rely on calm. At 7:12 a.m., time feels stretched, but it moves. You sit with your back against the wall, knees drawn in just enough to feel stable without cramping. Your fingers rest lightly on your water bottle. You don't drink, you only hold it. This becomes your second motif, touch, not use. A reminder of restraint. The house groans softly. Temperature shifts. Settling noises. Nothing catastrophic, but each sound triggers the same reflex. Listen. You tell yourself, assess, don't assume. You take out the notebook, your first log entry, not for memory, for clarity. 7:12 a.m. Sheltered, secured hallway, bathtub filled, no impact felt. Writing steadies thought. Civil defense instructors teach that documenting conditions preserves judgment under prolonged stress. You understand why now. The act of forming letters, recording facts, creates order where chaos wants to bloom. You perform a short breathing routine. 3 counts in, hold for 1, 4 counts out. Repeat twice. The darkness feels less claustrophobic afterward. Your chest loosens slightly. A sudden vibration against the floorboard startles you. Just the washing machine. In the next room, cycling to a stop, a load you started before the world changed. You release the tension slowly, deliberately. This is when panic whispers lies. You stay with what you know. You shift one suitcase closer to your side, adding another layer between you and the outer wall. Every inch is earned safety. The carpet beneath your feet feels rough through your socks, you'd forgotten shoes. The detail seems absurd now, but you note it. Small things ground you. A faint crackle of static hums when you test the radio dial for 1 second, just one. No signal yet, no news. You conserve the battery and return the room to silence. You cap the pen, close the notebook, and rest your palm against the doorframe. Solid, real, unchanged. You've secured your space. Now you learn to endure it. By 7:43 a.m., the silence outside has thickened into something you can almost feel pressing against the walls. You keep your palm on the doorframe, measuring the faint vibrations of the house. Ordinary settling, no shockwave, no sudden pressure shift. Good. That means the detonation, wherever it occurred, was far enough that the blast wave has either dissipated or bypassed your location completely. You tell yourself, this is distance. Distance is safety. The closet air already feels warmer, dense with your own breath. This is normal. Small, sealed rooms heat quickly. You shift your posture, slow and deliberate, listening to the soft rasp of your clothing against the wall. Sound becomes a companion, something predictable in the dark. Your next action, reinforce your shielding. You open the closet door just a crack, enough to reach into the hallway, and slide the heaviest blanket you own onto the interior side of the closet door. The added mass will reduce radiation penetration, even if only slightly. Civil defense research is clear. Any additional density matters. Even books, blankets, luggage add survivable minutes to your exposure time. You listen again. Sirens still in the distance, but fainter now. No footsteps, no voices calling for help. You resist the urge to check your windows to see if anyone is outside. The mental pull to just look grows stronger. Curiosity masks itself as strategy. You name it. Impulse. Then set it aside. You return to your seat, reposition the suitcase against your leg, and take a single small action. You tighten the flashlight's battery cap, checking the seal. A ritual, something you control. Your fingers remember the motion from camping trips, power outages, ordinary life. Your breathing steadies. The dark no longer feels oppressive. It feels intentional. Outside, a car alarm begins wailing, then stops abruptly. You don't speculate why. You've strengthened your shelter. Now you strengthen your focus. By 8:12 a.m., the outside world feels distant, abstract. But danger isn't abstract. Fallout travels on wind currents and settles like ash over everything exposed. Cars, rooftops, lawns, skin. It grows more hazardous in the first hours after detonation. That's why you stay here, why you do not open doors, windows, or blinds. You shift your weight and feel a pinch in your lower back. Physical discomfort is inevitable in confined sheltering. You acknowledge it without letting it erode your discipline. You stretch one leg carefully in the limited space, the carpet brushing your heel, grounding you again in small sensation. Your notebook lies open on your thigh. You log the time. 8:12 a.m., no impact felt. Sirens intermittent. Shelter sealed. Water conserved. Recording concrete facts, not interpretations, preserves judgment. It quiets catastrophic thinking before it begins. You turn the radio on for 5 seconds, then off. A flicker of static, a partial voice swallowed by noise, too distorted to pass. You resist turning the dial frantically, searching for clarity. Each second of battery is precious. You'll try again later. A new sound interrupts, a faint tapping somewhere outside. Not rhythmic, not intentional, maybe loose siding swaying in wind. Maybe a neighbor moving inside their own house. Your heart lifts with sudden hope, then drops with uncertainty. Wait, evaluate. The instinct is to call out, to check, to help. Instead, you remain still. Civil defense guidelines emphasize remaining sheltered during the first 2 hours post-detonation, when fallout concentration peaks and radiation levels spike rapidly. Opening your door helps no one if it compromises your own survival. You whisper a quiet instruction to yourself. Hold position. You tighten the towel around the door gap, feeling the fibers scrape against your fingertips. Rough, real, controllable, a small, quiet victory. Your hands don't shake this time. Fallout forms quickly. This is when staying put saves your life. By 8:45 a.m., you can feel the shift, not outside, but inside. Panic no longer spikes with each sound. It drifts, slower, easier to redirect. Your body adapts to confinement. Your mind begins to resist the constant urge to act. This is the true challenge of sheltering, enduring inaction when every instinct demands motion. The air feels drier now, your throat aches slightly. You allow yourself one sip of water, just enough to wet your mouth. Not thirst-quenching, just functional. Rationing is not deprivation, it's control extending over time. You recheck the seal under the door. The towel has warmed under your repeated touch. You adjust it, pressing it firmly into the carpet fibers. Every sealed gap slows airflow, which limits fallout dust infiltration if the structure is compromised. Fallout is most dangerous in the first 24 hours. Radiation intensity drops by half every 7 hours initially. Knowing this gives shape to your endurance. You're not waiting endlessly. You're surviving strategically through the peak danger period. A sudden creak from the hallway startles you. A pipe contracting, maybe. The house adjusting as outside temperature shifts with the climbing sun. Your breath catches, then steadies as you count again. 4 in, hold, 4 out. The psychological weight grows heavier now. You imagine neighbors confused, frightened, moving without guidance. You imagine someone opening their door, stepping outside to investigate. You feel guilt press behind your ribs, heavy and specific. Name it, guilt. Labeling emotion doesn't remove it, but it limits its power to derail you. You check the time again, your third central motif. Not obsession, but rhythm. Structure against chaos. You write in your notebook, 8:45 a.m., holding. No new sounds, staying still. The act of writing becomes reassurance, proof of continuity, evidence that you remain capable of thought and choice. You settle deeper into the darkness, listening to your own breath, feeling the walls solid against your spine. You've secured shelter and established discipline. The next hours test both. By 9:14 a.m., the quiet becomes its own landscape. Thick, heavy, alive with imagined possibilities. You reposition your feet, flexing your toes to keep blood moving. The cramped space aches against your joints, but discomfort is a controlled signal. It reminds you that you're still here, still choosing, still alive. Fallout outside is now forming its most dangerous concentration. Civil defense data is consistent. Radiation peaks in the first few hours after detonation, then begins a steep decline following the 7-10 rule. Radiation intensity drops to 1/10 after 7 hours, 1/100th after 2 days. This means your stillness is not passive. It's a shield measured in time. Your throat tightens again. You swallow dry. Name it, need. You don't indulge it. You conserve. A faint clatter outside makes your breath catch. Something metallic hitting pavement. Trash can lid, maybe. The silence after is worse. You imagine someone moving in the street. You imagine no one at all. The mind fills gaps with fear. This is where you redirect. You focus on texture, the rough weave of the blanket draped over the closet door, the flat warmth of the water bottle against your palm, the cool metal clip of the pen in your hand. Anchors, reality, what you can verify through touch. You turn the radio on for 4 seconds, only 4. A deeper layer of static now, with a fragment of a voice buried beneath, too distorted to understand. But voices mean infrastructure somewhere is still functioning. That matters more than the words themselves. You log 9:14 a.m., radio static with intermittent voice, no structural damage heard. You let your hand rest on the notebook for one breath, feeling the slight texture of the paper grain. A low hum vibrates through the floor, distant, mechanical. Emergency vehicles, perhaps, or generators? You don't speculate, you note it and move on. The outside world is shifting, you stay inside, you stay controlled. By 10:06 a.m., fatigue begins creeping in. Not exhaustion, but the mental drain of sustained vigilance. The closet feels smaller than before, your knees ache, your back presses against the wall in a way that demands adjustment but offers no relief. You shift slowly, mindful of noise. The house responds with a soft creak. Temperature rising slightly, another sign that your sealed space is functioning, limiting airflow. That's protection, not discomfort. Your breathing becomes shallow for a moment. You stop. You deliberately deepen it. 3 counts in, hold for 1, 4 counts out, again. You feel the tightness ease in your chest. A sharp knock reverberates somewhere in the house, front door maybe, or perhaps it's the neighboring house, sound traveling through shared walls. Hard to tell. The instinct punches through you immediately. Go check. It feels righteous, human. The urge to confirm someone else's survival is powerful, almost overwhelming. But opening the door compromises shielding, lets in contaminated air, exposes you to unknowns. Breaking seal now could undo hours of protection. You stay still. You whisper in your mind, not yet. You listen. No second knock, no voice calling your name. Just silence returning like water filling a hole. You open the notebook, hands steadier than earlier. 10:06 a.m. Isha. Possible knock. Did not engage, remain sheltered. Writing it down removes the ambiguity's power. It becomes data, not moral failure, a decision made with reason, not fear. You adjust the suitcase shielding again, nudging it closer to your hip. You feel the solid weight, a reminder that mass matters, that simple objects between you and outside radiation increase survival odds measurably. A small, flickering doubt rises. What if someone needed you? You acknowledge it, then fold it away like paper. You resisted your first major temptation to break shelter. That choice matters more than you know. By 11:02 a.m. you've entered the long stretch, time moving with a syrup-like slowness, minutes thickening into something harder to measure. Your body wants movement, your mind wants confirmation, but stillness remains strategy, not surrender. You feel sweat gather along your collarbone, warm air, close space. Normal physiological response to limited ventilation. You loosen your shirt at the neck and let the fabric rest differently on your skin. Another sensory anchor, another small adjustment that proves you remain adaptive. Outside, a low hum emerges, not mechanical, not wind, a kind of background resonance like distant highway traffic or generators running blocks away. It could be emergency convoys rerouting, could be nothing, you don't guess. Guessing fuels panic. You shift your focus to the fundamentals. Shielding. Suitcases and blankets remain in place. Ceiling. Door gap secured, towel and blanket pressed firmly. Resources, water conserved, radio battery preserved. You take another minimal sip. One mouthful. You let it sit on your tongue before swallowing, extracting every drop of relief from the sensation. Small comforts, controlled. For the first time, you feel the weight of uncertainty fully, not fear, but the broad horizon of not knowing, Which city was hit, how many, how far the radiation has spread, who else is sheltering like you, whether help is coming at all. Civil defense instructors prepare people for this moment, the knowledge void, when information thins and imagination swells to fill it. You turn the radio on again. 6 seconds this time. A new layer emerges, a rhythmic beeping, distant but intentional. Emergency broadcast signal, perhaps. Testing, cycling. You write 11:02 a.m., emergency tones faint, holding position. The act of logging becomes its own ritual now, a micro-routine that anchors the drifting mind to something concrete and controllable. You lean your head back against the wall and exhale slowly. You're entering the hardest phase, waiting without answers. Now, this is survival. By 12:03 p.m., the air in the closet has taken on a faint staleness, warm, slightly metallic on the tongue, thicker somehow. You shift your breathing to slower cycles to reduce the sensation. This is the moment fatigue pretends to be danger. You stay calm, you stay present. Outside, the neighborhood has fallen into a deeper silence. No sirens now, no engines, no distant voices. The absence is unnerving, but it fits the pattern. People sheltering, systems overwhelmed, sound muted by collective stillness and fear. You check the seals again. The towel at the base of the door is slightly displaced from your earlier movement. You press it firmly back into place, feeling the resistance of the carpet beneath, the texture of worn cotton. A small movement, a small win. You open your notebook. 12:03 p.m., shelter stable. No new sounds, energy steady. Your handwriting is tighter now, more controlled than the first shaky entries, muscle memory adapting to darkness and stress. Another minor sound pulses through the hallway, something like a low thump. Your instinct leaps, someone falling, a door closing elsewhere, something outside. You freeze, listening with every sense heightened. No follow-up noise, no movement, just the echo of uncertainty. You breathe, pressing your palm lightly against your thigh. Touch is grounding, flesh and bone, still warm, still yours. A new psychological pressure emerges, the urge to assume the worst. Civil defense protocols warn of this. Catastrophic thinking fills the silence when information is absent. Your mind wants to create narrative where none exists. You counter it by focusing on what you do know. Your shelter is intact. The blast wave never reached you. Fallout intensity peaks early but declines rapidly. Stillness is protection. You whisper to yourself, stay with what's real. The water bottle in your hand, the wall against your back, the notebook on your knee. These things are certain. You're past the peak danger window. Now you endure the quiet. By 1:26 p.m., time bends and warps. Your back aches persistently, but you adjust your posture with measured care, leaning slightly to one side. You change the position of one suitcase, sliding it with a soft scrape across carpet to reinforce the angle near the outer wall. The sound seems louder in the enclosed space than it should. You reach for the radio, your lifeline to information, and turn it on. 8 seconds this time. The static is thinner, less aggressive, and through it, a partial, broken message emerges. Mikidi continue sheltering. Updates when federal. Maintain distance from. Then static overwhelms it again. Your breath catches. Not hope exactly, orientation. Information is returning. Systems are stabilizing somewhere beyond your sealed room. You log it carefully. 1:26 p.m. Fragmented emergency guidance received. Directive. Continue shelter. Your stomach tightens with hunger. You feel it clearly, name it hunger, and let it drift without action. Civil defense recommendations prioritize water over food in the first 24 hours. Dehydration kills faster than starvation. You choose focus over appetite. A new sound emerges from outside, rhythmic tapping, too light and irregular for footsteps. Tree branches against siding, probably. Wind shifting debris. The temptation rises again, stronger now, to leave the closet, walk to the window, confirm the world still exists in recognizable form. You close your eyes and breathe. 3 in, hold, 4 out. You remind yourself, radiation outside is still elevated. Even if the streets appear calm, even if no visible damage marks the landscape, invisible danger lingers like contaminated dust, settling slowly onto every surface. Another internal ache forms, worry for others, for friends whose names you haven't thought in hours, family in other cities, neighbors you saw yesterday in ordinary time. The human cost of staying sheltered presses against your ribs. You hold it, you honor it, you do not act on it yet. Your fingers brush the water bottle, your recurring anchor, cool plastic, familiar shape, still mostly full, a marker of restraint and survival. Discipline carries you through the longest hours. Stay centered. You drift into light, fractured sleep sometime after 2:40 p.m. Exhaustion, finally overwhelming vigilance. It's not rest, just brief surrender. You wake with a start to a sound, soft, steady, unfamiliar in its clarity. Not a siren, not wind, a stable radio tone. You sit up stiffly, pulse rising, reaching for the radio with slow, controlled movements. Despite urgency singing in your veins, you turn it on with trembling fingers, static at first, then a clearer band, then a voice, official, calm, strained but steady. Exit for those outside immediate impact zones, continue sheltering until notified, radiation levels decreasing, emergency services mobilizing in staged areas, remain indoors with windows and doors sealed. Your breath trembles once, just once. Relief and grief mixed into something you can't name. You write, with careful precision, 6:11 p.m. Official broadcast received, radiation declining, guidance, maintain shelter. You place your hand on the water bottle again, your motif transformed. Earlier it was anxiety, then routine. Now it's reassurance, evidence of discipline rewarded. You wait another 10 minutes before opening the closet door, not to leave the house, not to break the seal at windows and exterior doors, just to breathe slightly cooler air in the hallway, to feel space expand around you for the first time in 11 hours. Light seeps under the front door. Late afternoon grey, diffused and weak. Dust motes drift in the angled beams, swirling slowly, beautiful and dangerous. A reminder of what you're still protecting yourself from. You sit on the hallway floor, back against the wall, the radio beside you playing its thin, distant instructions. The world beyond the sealed windows is still unknown, still unsafe, but the voice on the radio makes one thing absolutely clear. You made it through the first day, not through heroics or dramatic action, through restraint, through stillness, through controlled decisions when chaos pressed in from every direction. You press your palm lightly against the sealed closet door, feeling its solid surface. You've survived the first 24 hours. Survival continues with calm. As the radio's static settles into another faint government message, your eyes drift to the water bottle still in your hand, your initials marked on the label in permanent marker from some forgotten day before the world changed. Evening light catches its surface through the hallway, turning the clear plastic into something luminous, transformed. No triumph, no celebration. Just a quiet object carrying the weight of endurance. A reminder of what discipline saved, and what still lies ahead.